All right, hey guys, welcome back. I have been trying to post these videos for the past 4 days. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but I was at the finish line with this one finally, and my computer just shut down right at the end. So if I sound slurred, if I sound like I'm rushing or what have you, it is super late and I'm just determined to get these done. So last time I just went to open the computer again. I went to open Dreamweaver and the computer was stuck. So I'm not even going to open Dreamweaver. Um, in fact, these last three areas we don't really need Dreamweaver. I'm just going to use the W3 schools to explain it because we've actually already gone through it before. But I'm extremely frustrated and I'm sorry. But in any event, let's get through this. Where are we? Okay, so what we're going to talk about is a little bit of CSS, not deep into it, but a little bit of CSS because we've already been using it. Now we're going to go through explaining a little bit of what we use. So far up to date, we've been on the HTML tab. Right now, we're going to click on CSS. All right, and then inside the CSS tag, the areas that we're going to go over today are syntax, selectors, how to, comments, and color background. So let's get that. All right, so the syntax. We've already talked about this. We talked about the syntax of it. We haven't talked about broken this down. So CSS rules are really just CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's really just a set of rules that consist of selectors and a declaration block. So a selector in CSS is like the H1 tags, but in HTML, it's a tag. So that H1 tag that you see in HTML in CSS is called a selector. And this is how they link and talk to each other. Okay. So a selector in CSS talks to the HTML H1 tag. So H1 selector in CSS will talk to the H1 tag in HTML. That's how they talk. All right, so a declaration is the property, the value, and the semicolon. That's a declaration. So this color blue is one declaration. This font size 12 pixels is another declaration. But this entire thing is a declaration block. From this curly brace to the end curly brace is a declaration block. Let's see. And then the selector points to the HTML element that you want to style. Already went over that. Selectors are separated by semicolons. Yep, we talked about that. So yeah. So if you want to go more in depth and detail, you can definitely. I actually encourage you to go to this site and look it up. So for a paragraph, it is saying, hey, any paragraph I want to be read and I want it to align to the center. So in short, P is a selector in CSS. It points to the HTML element that you want to style, which is the paragraph tag. Color is the property, red is the value, text align was the property, center is the value. All right, so we're going to go on. And that's pretty much syntax in a nutshell. And then we have CSS selectors, which we already talked about, but here goes more in depth of what the CSS selectors are. If you divide the selectors into 5 categories, you'll have simple selectors, combination selectors, pseudo class selectors, pseudo element selectors, and attribute selectors. Now, we're probably not going to go through all, but we'll go through the ones that are relevant to us. The element selector HTML, the element selector selects HTML elements based on the element name. So again, there's that P and then the property value pairing here. Now we have the CSS ID selector, which we talked a bit about, but the ID selector uses the ID attribute, we know that, of an HTML element to select a specific element. So all this means is that ID selector that we did, like the ID attribute, ID equals, whatever, wrapper was one that we did. Then the CSS element on that is that hashtag, right? We talked about the hashtag. So it'd be hashtag wrapper, so that will speak, the HTML will speak to the CSS and know exactly what to style. We already talked about that IDs are unique. You need one unique ID per page. Sorry. I also have allergies that are driving me crazy right now. So that's pretty much what that's talking about here. Same here. This is the ID of Perel with the center and red. So then we have CSS class selectors. That was ID selector. We just talked about the class selectors. Pretty much same thing as the ID selector, except for you can style multiple things at once on a page. It's not unique like the ID was unique to where it can only be used once. This can be used to style several items on the page. And then it's using the same property value pairing that we used in the other ones. Let's see. Let me see. The universal selector will apply to everything per page. Now, we're not going to get into this. We're not going to use this. However, if you know that you want everything in your page to be, say, the color white, or you know that you want everything in your page to be in a certain font, you can do a universal selector, which is just asterisk, and you can set some style. So right now, everything on the page is going to be aligned center, and it's going to be the color blue if we set that in our page. So then your selector is just the asterisk, which is selecting everything. And then we have the grouping, which so instead of writing H1 text equals center and then color red, H2 text equals center, color red, H3 text equals center, color red, if you know that you are going to be using the same exact property value pairing for them all, you can group them. So if you go down here, you'll see where you have H1, comma, H2, comma, and P, all are going to be center and all are going to be red. So you do have the option of grouping the selectors. All right, and then this is just a little more details on how to do that. Let me go to the next one. Okay, so on the next page, this is just pretty much talking about the how to add CSS. So there's 3 types of CSS. There's external, internal, and inline. What we have been doing so far have been inline, which is the one that's in line with the text that right inside the elements themselves, right inside the text that it's affecting. That's inline. Inline can affect, like, say, 2 words, 1 word, of text, whereas internal affects everything on that page, but it doesn't affect your whole website. It affects everything on that page of your site. And it's not put in line, it's put inside of your head tags, whatever CSS you want to affect or whatever CSS you want to write is inside of the right before the closing tag of style inside of the head element. So you have the style element that sits inside of the head element, and your internal CSS will go in between the style element. All right, so it will look like there is an example. Okay. Well, right now we're talking about external. So external style sheets we haven't done yet, but we will be. External style sheets are linked. So there's no CSS on your page as far as the external style sheet goes. There's a link that sits inside of the head tags and it's linking out to this style sheet. And what this does is so if you have 300 page website, this will affect all 300 pages of your website when you make specific changes. So, and this is how it's linked. It just has the link, which is an empty tag. There's no closing link. So it just has the link. You're telling it what the relationship is. So the relationship is a style sheet. So that's the relationship attribute, REL. And then the href attribute where you tell it where it is. But it's inside, notice right there, inside of the head. So this is for external style sheet. There's no style attribute needed with the external. You're just linking it right there inside of the head tag. Then with, let me make sure there's nothing else I'm missing. I want to make sure you know. That style sheet must be saved with the CSS extension. Okay. And then we have internal style sheet, which is what internal CSS, which is what we did today in this series, which is where you have the style, right? We have the style attribute, and then you have the CSS written inside of the style attribute right here. And then what happens with this one is everything on that page can be affected by it. So in this example, the whole body is going to be the color of linen. And then every H1 tag in this document, every single one is going to have the color of maroon, and it's going to be margin left. Now that's every single one right now without having a unique name to it where it would change it. But that's neither here nor there. Every single H1 tag will be affected like this. Then we have inline, which, as you guys know, is just in line with your text itself. And then you can have multiple style sheets as well. For instance, here where its relationship is a style, of course, it's attached with that link tag. Then it's the type here and the href here. Let's see. What else? I don't want to go over too much. Okay, cascading order. Oh, and then there's a cascading order, which means the order in which one overrides which. So inline style sheet or inline style that's inside of an HTML element is first place. It can override everything because it's in line with your text. Then the external style sheet that's inside of the head section comes next as far as the order. Then internal style sheets, and then the browser defaults. So if let's say your style sheet isn't working, then it's going to default to whatever the browser says that style is. So in short, inline has the highest priority and will override external and internal styles and browser defaults. So that's what you need to know about that. All right, and then when you want to comment a style, kind of like we did with HTML, it's pretty easy, pretty simple. It's the /*, and then whatever your comment is, and then */. So it's just the reverse. Start /*, and then your comment, and then */. And then you'll want to comment for various reasons. The same with HTML. If it's something that you're doing that's really, really cool, or something that you're trying out, you don't know if it's going to work or not. And if it does work, you want to make sure that you document the process so you know how to do it later. But the cool thing about comments is that they're blocked or ignored by the browser. So the browser ignores them, and comment can be placed, anywhere in your document. You can comment stuff out. All right, so that's good with that. What else? Colors and backgrounds. Okay. This is where I wish Dreamweaver would be working right now because we play with different colors, but that's okay. So just CSS colors. We have these different color names, and you can browse through here to see what colors you want to use, but it just goes through and tells you about like the background color, the text color, the border, the color values if you want to use a value system and things like that. So it's just pretty much going over, and then it goes to RGB, hex, and HSL. So you can read through that and see if that's something that you like. And then last but not least is CSS backgrounds. Now the CSS background property is cool. I love it. It's used to define the background effects for whatever elements. So there's background color, there's background image, there's background repeat, background attachment, and background position. We're not going to go through all of this today. You're going to go through it, but I just wanted to let you know that that's there. Go through, read through, and see how to use this, because we will be using this definitely in the future. But you can do RGBA, which is super cool. This is the newest, so it just means that there's a transparency channel that's held in this, which is, like I said, is super cool. But go through, play with it. Background image, background repeat, background attachment, and background shorthand. you guys are going to be, these are going to come in handy so much. So make sure you read through these thoroughly. And you know, if Dreamweaver wasn't crazy, I had to go through it, but really it's an easy, quick read to just go through that. And then once you do that, we're pretty much done with this area and all the information that we need for the week. Now I'm going to save this before it decides to cut off, because it doesn't really give us a warning. So I hope to see you guys on Wednesday. I'm hoping that's the day is. I'm waiting to find out if an appointment can be rescheduled or not. So if it's rescheduled, I will be in our Zoom room Wednesday. If you can't make it, that's fine. Just, let me know. But that's it. That's what I got for you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day, and enjoy your holiday. And I'll see you guys next week.